Hey guys, it's Sam, and I figured I'd make a quick little tutorial on how I draw my chibi eyes. And for those of you who follow my Chibi DeviantArt account, link in description, you've probably already seen this tutorial, but I figured I'd make a video one just in case there are people who find video tutorials to be more helpful than just non-video tutorials. So I quickly sketched out this little happy face and just marked where I wanted the eyes to be. And oh, it's so cute, I know. Anyway, so I'm using Paint Tool SAI, but you can use whatever program works for you. It doesn't matter. So I want them to be huge in comparison to like the rest of the face because it's a chibi and they have really big eyes. So I just keep that in mind when I draw. And to start off with the upper lid, I kind of just go back and forth for a little bit to kind of get the shape I want. And do a little bit the same with the bottom one, but I make it kind of thinner. Yeah, that's not bad. And then just some little eyelashes that I'll redraw later, just for fun. And then this takes me a couple tries, but usually I like to make the actual eyeballs nice and big. That one's not too bad. And Control-C is your friend, everybody. It's okay to use it a lot. I use it a lot. Surprised that key's not broken yet. Anyway, oh no, doing the other side. Oh gosh. Alright, there we go. That's good. That's good enough. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, I like to make the eyes themselves like really big because just emphasis on big giant eyes on chibi faces. But yeah, so I sketch out the eyes like this. I try and keep it an oval shape. And if your program has it and you want to, you can use like a lasso tool or something and just fix little things like that. It's over here if you're using SAI, lasso, and yeah, just outline the thing you want like this. Control-T to transform it, and then just, you know, I'd make adjustments how you want. And this is just a sketch. This is just me laying out the idea. And then what I do after that is I lower the opacity of the sketch, which helps me, it makes it more transparent, so I can see better when I go over the final lines with the solid black color. And I'm currently using a tablet, but this can be used with a mouse, but you would have to kind of do things a little differently if you used a mouse. I like to use the stabilizer in Paint Tool SAI. Some other programs don't have this, but you can still do without it. It's what the stabilizer does is just slows down the lines. But yeah, anyway, I pretty much go back over it, the sketch, and I want the lines to kind of taper off at the end to be sharp and thin to kind of make more emphasis on the eyelashes. And I group it together, trying to cover up all the little gaps in between here and the upper lid. And then I usually do one stroke on the bottom just to keep it thin. And then two quick strokes at the top, two little lashes at the bottom and that side. And then the fun part of doing the eye again. And again, just like oval shapes. Big shapes for eyes, because we want them big because they're chibi and cute. And then it's basically just the same thing on the other side. One stroke on the bottom. Eventually, if I can get it. There we go. That's not too bad. Alright. When I use the tablet and I press down with the pen, I usually start light and then I press harder and then I go light again, and that makes that thicker part in the center and the thinner parts at the end, which is tapering your lines. That's what it's called. just making the sketch not visible because it's a little distracting. Anyway, and there we go. There's the eyes. They're not perfect, but they'll do. And next thing I do is I make a new layer. Actually, just get rid of that. Make a new layer, and I decide on what color I want to fill the eyes with. And for this, I shall make them purple, because why not? Purple is a pretty color. Anyway, so I fill it with a base color. Let me just turn that off. Okay, base color of purple. Fill it all in. Oops. Erase. I am so good at coloring inside the lines. Okay, and I also want white for the background of the eyes, the sclera, which is the scientific name for all you, I don't know, science nerds. And just to help me see better, I like to make the background gray, because then I can actually see where I'm putting down white. Otherwise, it's a little difficult. There we go. Anyway, so coloring the sclera right now, just the white parts. And cleaning up around the edges. I'm trying to keep between, like, the edge of the lashes, just so it doesn't look strange like I'm going outside of the eyeball for whatever reason. There we go. And erase and clean up. Fill in the parts I missed. So there's the basic part of it. And then next thing I do is, for Psy, I grab the marker tool just because it's a bit softer than the pen tool, but the pen tool can still work. It's just a matter of preference. And anyway, you can do it on the same layer as your colors, or you can make a new layer. It's up to you. Again, all personal preference. There's no set rules on this. So I want to make the iris. So I want to go a little bit darker, and I'm going to go more towards the blue just to kind of make it more colorful and interesting. And I start off with a giant oval in the center, and this is kind of just marking where the iris is going to go. And then from there I take it out like that and I fill it in, and it kind of just like marks the shadow that the upper lid, you know, makes. And so you don't have that purple stuff outside, you can do a clipping group and it makes it all nice and pretty. Next thing I do is I usually grab the pen tool for this, because I want those sharper edges. Going a little bit small. How big is that? That's fine. Okay. I again go like a little bit darker and a little bit more towards the blue. And then this time I kind of fill in this bottom part right here just to emphasize like the dark part of the eye. And I do a couple of swooshes like that, and then I want to blend it out so it looks kind of all mixed together. So I take the water tool, and if you're using Photoshop, you can use the smudge tool and set it to scatter. And I actually have a tutorial about that on my channel. If you're interested in that, I can put that in the description too. Anyway, so I want it kind of small because I want these edges to be sharp and crisp. And I just blur everything in the center, like so. And I do the same for the other eye. I blur the tops a little bit just so, like the tops right here, just so it's not so hard and noticeable, so it kind of blends better. And then, taking the pen tool again, I get the same purple, which is using just the eyedropper tool. Get the purple, and this time I'm going lighter for the highlights in the eyes, and I'm going a little bit more red. And I adding a couple of little dots. And I like to stick to 5 just because I like odd numbers, but you know, however many fits. So zooming out just so you can see a bit more, this is what it looks like so far. Then I want to do the white highlights of the eye. So make a new layer on top of the lines because they're going to be covering the lines. Pick a white. I'm still using the pen tool. Let me just zoom in a little bit and just make big circles for the shine. And however many circles you want, it's kind of up to you. I usually stick to 2 to 3 depending on my mood. You want them to be on the same side, like you wouldn't want it over here because it would look like the eyes are kind of going whichever way, like it just doesn't look right. So you want it on the same side. Yeah. Then the final thing I do is the overall shadow from the top lid. So new layer, and I set this to multiply, and I do this because I want it to affect both the purple in the eye and the white about the same. And I'm using the I'm using the marker tool again because I want that softness that the pen tool just doesn't really do. And this, I kind of go in the more grayer area, and I want to pick a color kind of close to the eyes just because I like how it matches. And you can play with this a bit and just see what colors work. Like I might want to go a bit more red and make my brush a little bigger. And depending on how much shadow you want, it's kind of up to you. Like that. And then just clean up afterwards, just erasing. Erasing. And that's pretty much it. An optional thing that I do sometimes is I go on the line art layer, and for Sai it's preserve opacity, and on Photoshop I believe it's like lock layer or something. I take the pen tool, I kind of go for like the darker purple area, and then I just color the lines. And I don't know, it kind of looks a little nice. Matches everything. And when you lock the layer, preserve the opacity, it's just coloring on the lines, which is why I'm not coloring anywhere else, so you can see the purple only stays on the line art. And there we go. That's it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this video. Hopefully it helped. And yeah, if you want to see me draw any chibis, I can put links in the descriptions of videos of me drawing chibis. And I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!